Here's a question for you. Do you think we'll ever have a new Mario or Sonic? And I mean a new equivalent of the power and awesomeness of those two characters. Now, a huge number of our stories in gaming and the reasons why we got into gaming or our first experiences of video games will converge around one or the other of those two absolute Goliaths in video gaming. You know, I still remember how big Sonic was when I was back at school. Sonic was all I wanted to play. Sonic was what represented video gaming for me, especially as the Sega Mega Drive was the first home console that I owned for myself. And as a testament to how powerful Sonic and Mario, were and still are, we're still obsessed with them. Those characters are absolutely everywhere, and a large number of the games that are coming out still feature them. And I think they're really staples. They're a massive part of the video gaming culture that we're involved in, and they will never fade away. They've achieved that success and that power. And it just makes you wonder, will we ever have that again? Part of me wonders, especially when I look at some of Nintendo's consoles, whether there's an over-reliance on the power of Mario and Sonic. You know, if you look at what Nintendo tend to do, they rely on those staple characters. Certainly you'll get a new 3D Mario game, you'll get a Mario Kart game, you'll get a Legend of Zelda game, and then you'll get a Smash, and that's kind of what they use to kind of be the staples that will ensure their consoles tend to do well. If they get that out, then they almost guarantee selling a certain number of them. And that makes you think, is there actually an over-reliance on those? I can see why that's done. I mean, the reason why is because Mario is such a big staple on Nintendo's systems, that it makes economic sense to always put those games out there, because he's known, he's huge, and he will sell them. But part of me thinks, like, is that actually counterintuitive? Is that almost stopping progress and innovation and imagination? It's very hard when you have those big characters not to rely on them so much, but I'm kind of thinking, will anybody ever make a character that's as powerful as either Mario or Sonic? Something equivalent, something that will take us over, something that will inspire us in the same way that those have done. What do you guys think about it? Do you think it's good that we have those two kind of icons who we all share and we all love, and there's a lot of videos on YouTube that come out still about those? Or do you think maybe the reliance on Mario and Sonic is a bit of a barrier to new things coming through? Or maybe it's just that new things have been attempted and the characters just ain't as good. Maybe we'll never get as good as that blue hedgehog and the chubby plumber in his red and blue overalls. I don't really know. I mean, I think that those games definitely inspired a lot of spin-offs that never got quite the same acclaim and never really captured our attention quite in the same way. There was a very interesting, quite good Sonic spin-off on Steam. What was that called? Forbidden Planet, I think it was. Really enjoyed that, and the characters in that were quite interesting, but just not interesting enough, I guess. I suppose one option would be to keep things mixed up a little bit, would be to do more spin-off games. You know, Knuckles would be an example. Knuckles was a really great game on the Sega Mega Drive. Why can't we have some more Knuckles games? Yeah, he's a cool character. Or some spin-off games with the Mario guys. And I was really grateful and really enjoyed the Wario games. And you can see here, this is Wario Land, the Shake Dimension on the Wii. I really liked the Wario handheld games on the Game Boy, and I think there's a really good one on the Game Boy Color, which I've not owned, but looks really good. I was really grateful for those games because they actually tried to mix things up a bit. And I think sometimes there can be an over-reliance on these big staples. I think that comes onto a broader point, that there is a big reliance not just on characters but on franchises, that maybe we'd benefit from seeing some franchises scrapped a little bit. Some really fantastic ones like Final Fantasy, for example, they seem to have just gone on for so long and not really changed very much. And it just kind of makes you think, is that actually now becoming a limit to your creativity, being held back by being through that same paradigm? Is there a time when something should be laid to rest? Now, of course, I'm not suggesting that we should lay to rest Mario or Sonic. That would be a tragedy, and we have to protect our gaming staples, don't we? Those two guys are great, and there will be an absolute outcry. But I guess I'm just wondering, will anything of the same magnitude come through again? I'm trying to think of other characters that have been created since then that people remember. Is maybe Duke Nukem? Duke Nukem was cool, and that was more of an adult type dude. I guess when I was younger, you had Commander Keen, who I always thought was a cool character. Those games were awesome. I probably played those platformers before I played Sonic, or maybe it was around a similar time possibly. But Commander Keen is very rarely talked about these days. He just couldn't cut it. I guess one of the things that I like about indie games is that there's less of a reliance on staples. They often are more pioneering. Well, they can afford to be. You know, people stay with Mario and Sonic. The big companies will do that because it's safe. If you're investing AAA type money, you need to kind of know you're going to get a return, and that's one way to do it. But the AAA games, so the indie games on Steam and stuff, they're more risky. There are some more quirky characters on there. Sometimes I like to look through and see what kind of platformers are coming out. So saw some ridiculous ones with the T-Rex recently. Maybe I should play that as a T-Rex space station representative. It just got me thinking, what do you guys think about this? Do you think we'll ever have somebody as powerful as those characters again? Do you think there's an over-reliance on old staples and on safety? Would you like to see a little bit more innovation and more thought going into stuff? And do you think we'll ever get bored of Sonic and Mario? I certainly don't think we will. They're awesome games, aren't they? Alright, thanks for listening guys, take care and I'll speak to you all soon, bye.